everyone, it's Mcthriftzie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have an update for you guys on my ThredUp Luxe video. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you watch that video before you watch this one. I talk all about what happened with the first box that I ever sent in to the ThredUp Luxe platform and how I profited over $800. With this video, I will be sharing my results from boxes 2 and 3 that I sent in. For each box, I will give a timeline of events as well as a detailed account of what happened with each item that was sent in. At the end of the video, I will go over my net profit and show you guys the items that I plan to send in for my box number 4. As always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. So before I get into everything, there's just a couple things I'd like to note. As you're watching this video, you may think, how did ThredUp decide to pay me X amount when the item sold for Y amount? And it's all based around a payout structure that they have on their website, or you can find it by Googling ThredUp Luxe payout structure. And this is how they determine what they will pay me. It's all based on listing price. So my commission is linked directly to the sale price of the item, and the sale price is directly linked to, or it's determined by things like brand, condition of the item. You'll kind of see as we go on. I give some examples and it's way less confusing. Another thing to note, you can send in non-Luxe items with your Luxe items. So if you have some designer items that you would like to send in, but you also have some bread and butter like Free People, Anthropologie, Lululemon, you can go ahead and lot them up and send them into ThredUp, the Luxe service, and they will also receive the expedited processing, which is great. If you were to send them in with their standard label, it takes, it can take up to 2 months to process those items, whereas these should get processed in about 3 weeks. ThredUp also has another great resource online called a Payout Estimator, which allows you to see what the item you may want to send in has sold for previously on the platform. I would keep in mind that it is an estimator, and what you see online may not happen for you when you send your item in. It's all basically case by case basis, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's it for things to go over. Let's go ahead and get into the general timeline of events for the second box. So on July 24th, I shipped items to ThredUp Luxe from Houston. On August 6th, the items were received, so it took just under 2 weeks to be received. August 11th, items have been processed, so just under 1 week to process, which is very quick. To give a general overview for the second box, I sent in a total of 14 items. 1 item was accepted up front, 4 items were rejected, 9 items were accepted on consignment, and of the 9 items accepted on consignment, 3 sold. So the 1 item that was accepted up front was a Zadig and Voltaire cardigan with embroidery and Swiss dot detail. So this brand is actually not on their designer directory list, and they did give me an upfront payout of $39.50, which I was happy with because I purchased a sweater for $5 at Goodwill. This cardigan actually sat in my Poshmark closet for maybe like 2 or 3 months. I did receive, I think my highest offer that I received was for $40 for the cardigan, so to receive a payout of $40 was great. Okay, so now moving on to items that were accepted and sold for the second box. So the first item is an Eileen Fisher Sleeveless Longline wool cardigan, and this item only took 4 days to sell and sold for $73.99 on the site. So Eileen Fisher is not in their designer directory, so that means that the payout percentage was a bit lower at 40%. And my commission ended up being $29.60. So I paid $3 for this at the thrift store, and that makes my net profit $27. So I was pleased with this payout because, again, the cardigan had sat in my Poshmark closet for about 6 months beforehand, and I was ready to move the item out. Okay, moving on. Acris Punto wool size 16 jacket. So this is a plus size jacket. This item took exactly 1 week to sell and sold for $284.99 on the site. Acris Punto is a brand that is in their designer directory, so this is kind of the example I was talking about that makes the payout structure a little less complicated. If you reference the payout structure, you know that the payout percentage for a Luxe item with a sale price between $200 and $299.99 is 80%. So because the sell price, the jacket sold for $284.99, and that falls between $200 and $300 basically, my commission was $228. So I hope that makes sense. I paid $2 for this jacket at my local outlet, so my net profit came out to $226, which was awesome. I did purchase this jacket exclusively to send into ThredUp Luxe and not to upload to Poshmark, which is my main selling platform. Obviously, I was very pleased with this payout and my return on investment. Okay, moving on. Alison Olivia silk cocktail dress. So this dress took just under 2 months to sell and sold for $113.99 on the site. Alison Olivia is not in their designer directory, so the payout percentage was 60% and my commission came out to $68.40. I paid $20 for this dress at my local Plato's Closet, so my net profit was right around $50. I had this dress listed for, I want to say 6 months on Poshmark before sending it into ThredUp Luxe, and once it was on the site, it was actually in and out of someone's cart like constantly. So I was pretty relieved when I finally saw the sold sign on the website. In the future, I probably would not pay up for a basic Alison Olivia piece. But I am, happy that it ended up going to a good home, and I did make a decent profit on it, so that was great. Okay, so after being online for about 2 months, these are the 6 items that did not sell while on consignment. Rebecca Taylor lace overlay dress. Okay, so one thing to note with this dress was it was sent back to me with a flaw in the lace. The lace was just ripped a little bit towards the bottom hem, and I'm about 85% sure that it was not damaged when I sent it in. I can't say, 100% certain, but I ended up selling it to Plato's Closet, which was actually where I bought it from, and I made back about $5. Also a Miu Miu mini dress. So this dress was also sent back to me with a flaw. It had a small rip in the lace near the chest. I'll insert a picture of that. And I'm pretty sure it ripped when they were taking it on and off the mannequin, because it is a pretty small dress. And on this one, I'm 100% sure that the flaw was not there when I sent it in. Obviously, I should have sent an email to them saying something about it. I'm pretty confident that, they would have tried to rectify the situation had I done that, but I didn't. I'm pretty easymgoing when stuff like that happens because, I know that things happen like that, especially because, I'm pleased overall with ThredUp as a whole. But, I would highly encourage you to email them if an item comes back damaged. I don't really know why I didn't. I think I was just being lazy maybe. I paid about $7 for it at the thrift store, and it sold on Poshmark for $30 even with the flaw. So I still made a small profit. Okay, so I'll just list the remaining 4 reclaimed items and then go into further detail on what happened with them in just a bit, because I did turn around and send them right back into ThredUp Luxe. So a Max Mara linen cardigan, an APC casual dress, an Iskandar vest, and an Escada blazer. Okay, so for the 4 rejected items, we have a new with tags and a sweet dress, a St. John cropped sweater, an Acres Punto cropped wool jacket, and a Frankie Morello cropped jacket, which I had never heard of that brand before. I just kind of grabbed it at the thrift store. I looked it up and I saw some like runway pictures of it, so I thought it was like maybe, you know, a high fashion brand, but I'm really not too sure to this day what it's about. Also, ThredUp does say that they will tell you why they rejected your items if you ask, so I did. They emailed back and said that the Frankie Morello jacket was rejected due to brand and the other 3 because of stains. I don't think they had stains because you'll see in just a bit that a couple of them were accepted in the next box. Okay, so let's go over my numbers for the second box. My total earned for the 1 upfront item and the 3 consignment items, so all 4 total, my total earned was $365 with 50 cents. My cost of goods was around $30, which makes my net profit $335.50. So for 4 items, I was very pleased with this payout. I did end up reclaiming my unsold items a bit earlier than I have in the past because I heard about ThredUp's new structure where they basically offer an immediate upfront payout on everything that is accepted. This upfront payout is only offered for 1 week, and it is usually about half of what you would receive if you were to wait for the item to sell. It's a little bit confusing, but you'll see what I mean in a minute with the next box. Okay, so moving on to our third box, my general timeline of events is I shipped the items off to ThredUp Luxe on November 7th, again from Houston, Texas. On November 20th, ThredUp received the box, so it took just under 2 weeks to be received. November 27th, the items have been processed, so that took exactly 1 week to process. So again, same thing with the second box, and I think even the first box. Everything took a total of 3 weeks, which is pretty quick considering all that happens. Okay, so to give a general overview of this box, I sent in 15 items, 1 was rejected, 14 were accepted, and of those 14, I took the upfront payout for 5 items. 5 items went on to sell on consignment and 4 were reclaimed. So the items that I accepted the upfront payout on are, number 1, an Acres Punto boxy textured wool jacket. As I mentioned before, this jacket had been rejected once before, so I wanted to make sure I took the upfront payout for it while it was accepted this time, in case it didn't sell on consignment and then maybe rejected again in the future. So I thought basically because they had rejected it in a previous box and you know, I missed the opportunity to take the upfront payout, and then, you know, it didn't sell on consignment and they sent it back to me, and then I was to send it in again, it might be rejected like the last time. That's like super confusing, but basically I just was wanting to get rid of it is what I'm saying. So I paid $2 for this jacket at the thrift store and I accepted an upfront payout of $48. So my net profit was $46. This jacket still has not sold on the site, so that was a smart decision on my end. Next up we have an Acres Punto striped blazer, so another Acres Punto item. I accepted an upfront payout of $58 for this jacket, but unlike the last one, it would have been smart to wait it out on this one because it ended up selling on the site for $167, and I could have made around $100 instead of the $58. However, I paid $2 for this jacket as well, so my net profit was $56, which is still pretty great in my opinion. Okay, moving on. A Mayette metallic miniskirt. So I had this miniskirt for, I want to say 2 years, and I just could not sell it for whatever reason. It was beautiful. The lining was silk, and it was, you know, a really heavy knit. You could tell that it was really, really good quality. It retailed for around $1,000, but I guess, you know, for whatever reason, it was just not too marketable. Either way, ThredUp offered me $44 for it, and I gladly accepted. I paid $1 for it on Dollar Day at my local outlet, so my net profit was $43. Again, this was a good move to take because it still has not sold on the website. That's an item that ThredUp is just going to, you know, wait for the right buyer to come along and buy it because, you know, I know someone will. Next up, we have an Escado wool blazer. This was an item that didn't sell the time I sent it in before in the last box, box number 2, so I wanted to take the upfront payout this time. There's kind of a strategy to it all. Because Escada is not a brand on their designer directory, the offered payout was a bit lower at $35. I paid $2, so my profit was $33, which I am happy with. This jacket is also still listed for sale on ThredUp. So lastly, for items I accepted up front, we have, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this. I think it's Manouschka casual dress, and I did have this dress listed on Poshmark for about 6 months, and I even lowered it to around $20 without it selling. So again, I was just ready to move it out. This dress is a good example of how demand varies from platform to platform. I was eager to take the $24 up front because it ended up selling soon after. I was eager to take the $24 upfront payout, but it ended up selling soon after for $96, which meant my payout could have been $48 instead of the $24 that it was. I only paid $1 for this dress, so I am still happy with my net profit of $23, and I am glad to be reminded of the differences in demand between platforms. So, you know, as you can see there, like I said, there's definitely a strategy to it. It's kind of just a gamble, you know, like would this item sell after the week is up? Like, is it worth it for me to let it stay on consignment and sell for more? Or, you know, is it just going to sit forever and I need to take this upfront payout right now? So, you know, deciding there only comes with experience, and obviously, you know, I'm still in the learning process. It's hard to know when the right buyer will be there at the right time. So it's very interesting. Okay, so items I did not take the upfront payout on and ended up selling on consignment. So these are items that they offered me a certain amount, and I had a week to take it, but I didn't take it within that week. And I didn't do that because I really felt like, you know, even if they weren't to have sold at all on the ThredUp website, that I could have asked for them back and sold them myself for at least what they were offering me or more. Okay, so first off, we have an Anna Sui silk dress. And like I mentioned earlier, this dress had been rejected from box number 2. I didn't really know why. They said it had a stain, but it definitely didn't. I looked at it from like top to bottom, and it was also new with tags. It only took 3 days to sell on the platform, and it sold for $96. My payout was $48. I had this dress listed on Posh for about 6 months with no real interest, so again, I was happy to see it go. I paid $7 for it at the thrift store, so my net profit came out to just over $40. Next up, we have a Chloe Pullover Alpaca sweater. So this one is a little different because I wasn't 100% sure of the authenticity of this sweater, so I just sent it in. It also did have light signs of wear, however it was accepted and it did end up being authentic. So ThredUp does have, you know, an authentication team. If you ever are just, you know, wondering if something is real or not, you can just go ahead and send it in, and if they list it, that means that it definitely is authentic. It sold for $78 and with a payout percentage of 50%, so that's referencing back to that payout structure. to determine how or what my commission was, I made $39. I spent $4 on this sweater, so my net profit equaled $35. Okay, next up we have an APC casual tiered ruffle dress. APC is one of those brands that is very expensive retail and it's very high quality, but it just doesn't seem to be super sought after in the resale market for whatever reason. I had this dress listed again on Poshmark, I want to say for about 3 months, no serious offers. It did actually have a lot of interest and a lot of likes, and it just took under a week to sell on ThredUp Luxe for $75, with my commission being $30. So again, there's that kind of difference between platforms. Maybe the demand is higher on, you know, ThredUp Luxe platform for APC than it is on Poshmark or eBay. I paid about $6 for this at the thrift store, so my profit came out to $24. Not my best buy, but, you know, all profits add up, so I was happy with that. Moving along, we have a TSE Cashmere pullover sweater. And I found this sweater at my local outlet for $2. I was unfamiliar with the brand, but I picked it up based on fabric. So it was 100% cashmere, and cashmere, in my experience, is generally pretty sought after. So I wasn't, you know, worried about it selling, even if it wasn't a very well-known brand. I figured the fabric would kind of carry it. But after doing some research, I concluded that TSE is definitely a great brand, and I do plan on picking up TSE again in the future, obviously depending on condition and things like that. It's sold on ThredUp for $73, with my commission being $29. My net profit came out to $27. Okay, now we have a Tess Giberson wool sweater. I found this sweater at the thrift store, and I was totally unfamiliar with the brand, but the tag looked pretty high quality, and so did the overall sweater, and I grabbed it for $5. After doing research, I saw that Tess Giberson is again a great brand with a high retail value, but not very present in the resale market. So the comparables were kind of all over the place. A couple of people, or a couple of her items had sold for a decent amount, but there just weren't that many sold. So that just kind of told me that, you know, it's just not really being resold that much. And this is a prime example of something that is great to send in to ThredUp Luxe, in my opinion. It's more of an obscure brand that gets appropriate exposure on the platform. It took about 3 weeks to sell for $65, making my payout $26. So that brand, actually, I think that brand was on the designer directory. I'd have to double check, but I think that's why I ended up grabbing it at the thrift store, was because I saw it on the list. I just keep the list, the designer directory list, bookmarked on my web browser on my phone while I'm shopping. I just pull it up, and, you know, I do a quick scroll. If I haven't seen a brand before, but the item looks high quality, I'll just scroll through, and sometimes it's on the list, and, you know, that's an easy way to tell if it's a higher end item. Okay, so I don't know if I said my net profit for that sweater was $21. For something that I purchased and then just threw in a box, I think $20 is great. So, yeah, that was good. So recap for box number 3. My total earned for the 5 accepted items up front and 5 consignment items was $381 with 65 cents. And my cost of goods was $32. That makes my net profit $349 with 65 cents. Overall, I am definitely pleased with my net profit for this box as well. A lot of the sold items were things that I was really just trying to move out. It's always exciting to find designer items at the thrift store, but unfortunately, designer items usually tend, or they can tend to move slower on platforms like Poshmark and eBay. In my opinion, ThredUp Luxe is a great platform that provides the needed exposure to get your higher end items selling faster and for a decent profit. The downside is that there's no guarantee your items will come back to you in the same condition that you send them in, as you saw with my 2 items. But ThredUp does have excellent customer service that I'm sure is willing to try and rectify any issue for you. I just want to say I don't have any affiliation with ThredUp Luxe other than, you know, selling my items on their website. I was pleased with both my boxes. I hope this was informative. Now, let's move on into the items that I will be sending in for my box number 4. Okay, so first off, we have a basic black career pencil skirt by Versace, and this is the front. Nope, that's the back. Okay, so this is the front, and like I said, it's just a basic career skirt. It does have a very light texture to it. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that. A little slit in back. Just a really nice, you know, everyday skirt to wear to work. I grabbed that from Goodwill for around $5, I want to say. Next up, this is an Escada 2-piece, like camisole and then jacket set. Really, really pretty. Some lace details along the sleeves and the bodice here, and then the buttons are embellished. It just really feels like very high quality. Here's the inner camisole, just a basic. So this is a really nice piece to have to just, you know, very easy to pair with, and this should do well. Next up, you guys may have seen this if you watch my haul videos. It is an Acris floor length skirt. So it does have pleats and just a really pretty dramatic piece. You guys saw that I sold several Acris Punto jackets. So Acris is the higher up label. So Acris Punto, I believe, is just a little less expensive than this line. Also, something to note, this skirt does have belt loops. You can see here they're pretty thin. And I emailed ThredUp saying that I had a skirt, an Acris skirt that had belt loops with no belt. And I wasn't sure if it originally came with a belt, and I asked if it would be immediately rejected because it might be missing a belt. And she wrote back and said no, they would just, you know, mention that in the listing. So that's good to know. Next up, this is an Armani Collezione 100% silk button down. There's a tag. And I really like this. I like the menswear vibe with the contrast stripe down the sides. Again, it's 100% silk, which, you know, is always a luxurious item. Next up, so this dress, you guys may have seen in a haul video and then a what sold video. So the buyer actually opened up a return saying that this dress was fake, but you know, I'm 100% sure that it's authentic. If you know, could see it in real life and feel the material and see the structure, there's no doubt that this is an authentic dress. It's just, you know, totally expertly made. This is the tag. It has 100% silk lining, and I mean, all the seams are just flawless. So I just said, you know, if the buyer's not happy with the dress, go ahead and send it back to me. I'd be happy to have it back. Honestly, I did sell it too low, so I was fine with getting it back. It came back in the exact same condition that I sent it out in, so that's all I cared about. Okay, moving on. This is Fuzzy, and this is a brand that I had never heard of, but I saw this tag, the care tag, and it says made in Italy. It just looked like a very expensive tag. So I did a little bit of research, and sure enough, it's on the ThredUp Luxe designer directory list. I believe the designer for Hermes, it's like this is an offshoot of something that he designed or something like that. But yeah, it's just like a really pretty textured like lace overlay shirt. Next up, again, this was featured in a haul video, a recent haul video. This is a Gucci button down. It's like super hard to show on camera. I'm going to insert a try-on clip of me wearing this again. It's like a wrap over top with this belt that ties around the waist. So I'm sending that in. And also this pair of Saline. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. Saline wool trousers. Yes, wool and elastic. These are really cool. They're like a wide leg and they flare out just a little bit with a pinstripe. These are actually currently listed in my Poshmark closet, and they do have a lot of likes, but I haven't had any serious offers, so I'm just going to go ahead and send these in. Next up, this is an Iskandar button down. I'm not expecting too much for this, but I actually sold a white one that was identical to this on Poshmark for around $60. This is a baby pink, and it's just not getting the same amount of interest that that one did, so I'm just going to send it in. And lastly, we have this APC plaid button-down shirt. And this is really cute for springtime with the pastel colors. Again, also listed in my Poshmark closet, but I think, like I was talking about earlier, that the exposure would do it well on the ThredUp Luxe platform. So that's it for my video. I'm sorry if this was kind of a lot of information pressed into a small amount of time. If you guys, you know, are confused about anything or have any specific questions, please feel free to leave them down below. Or you can send me a direct message on Instagram. I'd be happy to chat with you guys and you know, figure out any questions or concerns you may have. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.